12 months since they voted to leave the European Union and embrace the world. And in 1 week's time, they have the opportunity to affirm that decision and secure that brighter future by voting for me to continue as Prime Minister. If they do, I am confident that we can fulfil the promise of Brexit together and build a Britain that is stronger, fairer, and even more prosperous than it is today. Because the promise of Brexit is great, the opportunities before us enormous, and I am ambitious for Brexit and ambitious for Britain. For we are a great country, a country that is proud of its European heritage, but a country that has always looked beyond Europe to the wider world. And 12 months ago, the British people chose to do so again. They chose to build a more global Britain. And let us be clear, they did so with their eyes open. They knew that it would not be straightforward. They knew the road ahead may be uncertain, but they believed that it would lead towards a brighter future for their children and their grandchildren too. So with determination and characteristically British quiet resolve, they defied the establishment, ignored the threats, and made their voice heard. I respect that decision and am clear about what needs to be done. It is time to act on their instruction, to deliver their will. It is time to respect the decision of the British people and take Britain out of the European Union. And that is what I am ready to do from day one. I have the determination and I have the plan, a clear plan, laid out in a white paper and approved by our Parliament to get the Brexit deal for Britain. 12 negotiating objectives that provide the framework for a deal that works for the UK and for the European Union too. Certainty at every stage, so that people and businesses can plan for the future. Control of our own laws, so that we bring decision-making back to Britain. A strengthened United Kingdom, so that we all move forward together. The common travel area with Ireland maintained, with no return to the borders of the past. Control of immigration, so that our immigration system serves the national interest. Rights for EU nationals in Britain and British nationals in the EU secured. Rights for workers enhanced. Free trade with European markets. New trade agreements for British goods and services with other countries around the world. A leading role in science and innovation. Continued cooperation to tackle crime and terrorism. And a phased approach to a new relationship delivering a smooth and orderly Brexit. That is my clear plan for Brexit. 12 objectives that amount to one ambitious goal. A new deep and special partnership between a successful EU and a successful Britain. But that is not the limit of my ambition. I want to do more. Because Brexit is not a process, but an opportunity. It is this generation's chance to shape a brighter future for our country. So I want us to work together to fulfil the promise of Brexit too. Because if we get Brexit right, then together we can do great things. We can build a Britain beyond Brexit that is stronger, fairer, and even more prosperous than it is today. A Britain beyond Brexit that is more global and outward-looking. A Britain alive with possibilities, more confident in itself, more united and more secure. A country our children and grandchildren are proud to call home. If we get Brexit right, we can be a confident, self-governing country once again. A country that takes the decisions that matter to Britain here in Britain. We will be able to control our own borders, ensuring that we continue to attract the brightest and the best to work or study in this country, but ensuring we have control over that process so that it is managed properly and that our immigration system genuinely serves the national interest. Because while controlled immigration can bring great benefits, filling skills shortages, delivering public services, making British businesses the world beaters they often are, when the numbers get too high, it is difficult to build a cohesive society and a united country. We will be able to control our own money, no longer paying huge sums to the European Union every year, but spending that money on our priorities here at home. Things like the new Shared Prosperity Fund we will put in place, replacing ineffective and restrictive EU structural funds with a new UK-based scheme whose sole purpose will be to reduce the inequalities that exist within and between the four nations of our United Kingdom. We will be able to control our own laws, bringing the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice to an end and returning decision-making authority to this country, as the public demanded that we should. That means we will be able to control our own affairs, putting us firmly in control of our own future. And if we get Brexit right, I am confident that future will be bright. As we pursue a bold and ambitious free trade agreement between the UK and the European Union, and as we get out into the world to do new trade deals with old friends and new allies around the globe, the opportunities for our economy will be great. We've already started discussions on future trade ties with countries like Australia, New Zealand and India, while countries including China, Brazil, the United States and the Gulf states have expressed their interest in striking trade deals with us as soon as they can. Set free from the shackles of EU control, we will be a great global trading nation once again, bringing new jobs and new opportunities for ordinary working families here at home. As we build the new modern industrial strategy I've set out, we will attract and invest in new high-paid, high-skilled jobs and spread prosperity and opportunity across the country. And we will invest in the next generation so that people growing up in Britain today are ready and able to seize the opportunities ahead. That is why, as well as continuing our school reforms to ensure everyone gets the core academic education they need, the government I lead will revolutionise skills training in this country, putting technical excellence on a par with academic education for the first time. We will invest in further education colleges to ensure they have world-class facilities. We'll introduce new T-levels for post-16 education, replacing a confused picture of 13,000 existing technical courses with new and better qualifications that give young people the skills they need to do the jobs of the future. And as we announced in the budget in March, we will implement the recommendations of the Sainsbury Review into post-16 skills, increasing by over 50% the number of hours training for 16 to 19-year-old technical students, including a high-quality 3-month work placement for every student. That means that when those students qualify, they will be genuinely work-ready and able to make the most of the opportunities ahead. And in support of all this, the government I lead will invest in a new generation of institutes of technology in every major city in England. Important new institutions, providing sought-after skills for local, regional and national industry. They will be encouraged to develop their own local identity, to make sure they meet the skills needs of local employers. And they will give young people the chance to get a good job and put down roots in their local communities, the place they want to call home. We will do all this because for Britain to succeed after Brexit, we need to make the most of every talent and ensure no person or community is left behind. And that's what I mean by fulfilling the promise of Brexit. And as we come together behind this great national mission to make a success of Brexit and of the opportunities it brings, we will build a more united country as our shared values, interests and aspirations bring us together. The government I lead will invest in the institutions that bring us together as a country. Things like our vital public services, our schools, our hospitals, our NHS. The NHS is the essence of solidarity in our United Kingdom, an institution that binds us all together, the symbol of our commitment to each other, between young and old, those who have and those who do not, and the healthy and the sick. So the government I lead will give the NHS its full support and back it with the resources it needs, increasing spending by a minimum of £8 billion in real terms over the next 5 years. An increase in real funding per head of the population for every year of the Parliament. Our schools can be the great driver of social mobility in Britain, the means by which we change the greatest injustice in Britain today, the fact that your life is so often determined not by your efforts and talents, but by where you come from, who your parents are, and who you know. I want Britain after Brexit to be the world's great meritocracy. It means making Britain a country where everyone, of whatever background, has the chance to go as far as their talent and their hard work will take them. A country that asks not where you've come from, but where you are going to, where all that matters is the talent you have and how hard you're prepared to work. So the government I lead will continue to transform education in this country, with more good schools, more and fairer funding, and yes, we will lift the ban that stops people establishing selective schools in England too. Because for too long, politicians have said to people and communities who are crying out for change that they can't have what they want. For too long, politicians have said if you're rich or well off, you can have a selective education for your child. You can send them to a selective private school. You can move to a better catchment area or afford to send them long distances to get the education you want. Yet for too long, those same politicians have sought to deny that right to others, to ordinary working people up and down this land. That is a scandal, and we will bring it to an end. And we will do all this because despite all the progress we've made in our schools over the past 7 years, there are still nearly 1 million children in schools that are not just good enough. And if you live in the Midlands or here in the North, you have less chance of attending a good school than children in the South. If we are to fulfil the promise of Brexit together, that injustice has to end. If we are to fulfil the promise of Brexit, we need to ensure the benefits of that promise are shared by all. But we can only do this with an economy that is strong and secure. We can only do this with an economy based on sound money and responsible economic management. An economy run by a government that is committed to bringing the deficit down and getting the country back to living within its means. We can only do this with a government that understands that if you cannot manage your money properly, you won't command the confidence of investors at home or abroad. A government that knows that if you can't manage your money properly, investment will dry up, taxes will rise, and businesses and the jobs they provide will flee from our shores, and ordinary working people will pay the price. We can only do this if we get Brexit right. This is the prize, the opportunity that is within reach. A stronger, more secure and prosperous nation, a brighter, fairer future for all. And that's what excites me about the years ahead, what I am working towards, what motivates me to do what I do and put myself at the service of ordinary working people. And it's what makes the decision you face next week so vital, this election so important. Because make no mistake, not everyone shares this view. They say we're too small and too insignificant, that Britain can't do it, that the British people are not up to the task. In short, they don't believe in Britain. And if that's where you start, you have no hope of getting the right deal for Britain in Europe. You can't negotiate the right Brexit deal for Britain if you don't believe in Britain. You can't fight for Britain if you don't have confidence in our strengths and in all that we have to offer. You can only deliver Brexit if you believe in Brexit. You can only fight for Britain if you believe in Britain. You can only deliver for Britain if you have the strength, the plan and the determination to see it through. And what we know in this election is that the only other person that can be Prime Minister in 7 days' time is simply not up to the job. He doesn't believe in Britain. He doesn't have a plan. He doesn't have what it takes. And after last night, it's clearer than ever that just 11 days after the election, when the negotiations begin, Jeremy Corbyn's focus wouldn't be on trying to negotiate a deal for Britain in Europe, but on trying to stitch up a deal with Nicola Sturgeon and the rest. Yet it is on the success of those crucial Brexit negotiations that everything else we want as a country will depend. If we don't get Brexit right, if we don't make a success of the next 5 years, our economic prosperity will suffer, jobs and livelihoods will be put at risk, and with them, the security and peace of mind of working families. We won't have the opportunities we want for our children. We won't have the high-skilled, high-paid jobs of the future. We won't have the financial means to fund the public services upon which we all rely. And the brighter future people here in the North East and across the country voted for 12 months ago will slip from our grasp. But if we do, the opportunities before us are great. That's why I make this commitment to you and this commitment to Britain. If we stand together and you vote to back me and strengthen my hand, I'll fight to get the best Brexit deal for Britain. I'll stand up for Britain and fight for Britain to guarantee our economic security, to deliver better paying jobs, a good school place for every child, real technical education and extra funding every year for our schools and a strong NHS. And I'll stand up for Britain to ensure we control and reduce immigration when we leave the EU. This is my plan for Britain, a plan for Brexit and beyond. But the brighter future we want for our country will not just happen. This great national moment needs a great national effort in which we pull together with a unity of purpose. And however we voted in the referendum last June, we come together with a determination to make a success of the years ahead. Because together we can do great things. As I've said many times in the past, people can have faith in me because I have faith in them. I believe in the British people. I believe that with determination, ingenuity and common sense, we can use this moment of great national change to shape a better future for Britain. So this is the time to choose. Because at moments like these, great turning points in our national story, the choices we make define the character of our nation. We can choose to say the task ahead is too great. We can choose to turn our face to the past and believe it can't be done. Or we can look forward with optimism and hope and to believe in the enduring power of the British spirit. I choose to believe in Britain and that our best days lie ahead. And I do so because I'm confident that we have the vision and the plan to use this moment to build a better Britain. So over the next 7 days, I will fight to earn every vote in this election, because every vote will count to strengthen my hand in the Brexit negotiations, and every vote will be a step towards that brighter future that we can build beyond Brexit together. That is why I will be campaigning in all corners of this country in the week ahead, and why I will be reaching out to everyone in every community. Because this election is not about the old tribal politics of the past, but about looking to the future, about securing that future for the generations still to come, and about doing what's right in the national interest. Whoever you are and however you have voted before, if you put your trust in me, back me, I will work every day to build a better future for your family and your community. If you put your trust in me, back me, I will work every day to make a success of Brexit and build a Britain our children and grandchildren are proud to call home. If you put your trust in me, back me, I will strive to be a leader worthy of our great country. And together, we will fulfil the promise of Brexit and build a stronger, fairer, more prosperous country. A country that works not just for a privileged few, but for everyone. Thank you.